Caitlin Clark has faced plenty of challenges on the court, but nothing frustrates fans more than the inconsistent officiating, ranging from missed calls to questionable technical fouls. At times, it feels like the refs are singling her out. Is this just tough competition, or is something bigger at play? Every time Clark steps on the floor, the energy is electric. Fans anticipate her deep threes and sharp assists, but instead of just focusing on her game, she has to stay wary, not just of defenders, but of officials making baffling calls. The crowd, once roaring in support, often turns on the referees, frustrated by decisions that don't make sense.
Indiana leads by 11 with 5:48 remaining in the second.
What's really going on? Are these just bad calls, or is there a pattern of bias? We're breaking down 10 of the most shocking officiating decisions, and when we get to number 7, you won't believe how blatant it gets. Let's start with one of the worst no calls of the season. September 22nd, playoffs, Indiana Fever versus Connecticut Sun. All eyes were on Caitlin Clark, but instead of a fair fight, fans witnessed a glaring officiating blunder. Minutes into the game, Dejanay Carrington lunged for the ball but struck Clark square in the eye. Clark staggered, blinking to regain focus. The crowd waited for the whistle, but nothing. Clark, still under pressure, found Elia Boston before collapsing. Fans erupted, expecting at least a foul, but the refs stayed silent. Clark, shaken, struggled through the first half, shooting just 1 for 9 from the field. A bruise formed around her eye, a clear sign of another missed call. And this was just the start. Was this just tough playoff basketball or something more? One thing was clear. Clark wasn't getting superstar treatment. If anything, she was getting the worst of it.
Harassed by Carrington. Finds Boston. Clark gets hit in the face by Carrington and is down.
Held, shoved, and repeatedly hit. Yet the whistle stayed silent. No calls, no protection. Just an expectation for her to play through it all.
Clark is still down after taking a shot following the pass to Boston.
Let's look at this moment when Marina Mabrey aggressively defended Caitlin Clark as she fought for her first postseason bucket. Clark tried to get around Mabrey, drove to the rim, and finished through heavy contact. Even the game's commentators couldn't ignore the excessive physicality, calling attention to the blatant fouls. But the referees remained indifferent. Clark, however, refused to let the missed calls define her. She found other ways to impact the game, proving once again why she's one of the toughest competitors in the league. But this wasn't just about one game. It was a glaring example of how officiating can shape outcomes and, more importantly, put players at risk. Then came another moment of shocking physicality that left fans questioning the line between aggressive defense and outright dangerous play. This time, it was an August 28th matchup against the Connecticut Sun. Everything seemed normal, until Alyssa Thomas bulldozed through Clark.
As everyone else has seen this angle. I'm calling her in, and I'm saying to her, I need answers.
Presence known with a blatant shove. The crowd gasped, expecting an immediate whistle. But once again, the officials turned a blind eye. The August 18th matchup against the Seattle Storm had already been a heated battle, with tensions rising as the game neared its climax. Clark, near the Seattle bench, was hyping up the crowd, feeding off the energy. Then, out of nowhere, Skylar Diggins-Smith stepped in with unexpected aggression. Would the referees step in? Would there be consequences? Fans watched in disbelief as play continued. Yet another moment where Clark was forced to endure physicality without protection. This wasn't just another missed call, it was a growing pattern, raising serious questions about consistency and fairness in officiating.
Clark trying to get around Mabrey. Clark to the rim, reverses it home.
React, the referees immediately blew the whistle, issuing Clark a technical foul. The contrast was impossible to ignore. Just moments earlier, Skylar Diggins-Smith had forcefully shoved Clark with no consequences. Yet the slightest display of frustration from Clark was met with swift punishment. The crowd erupted in frustration, and fans online wasted no time calling out the blatant inconsistency. How is this a technical, but a shove isn't even a foul? One fan posted. Another pointed out the double standard, questioning why certain players tend to get away with aggressive plays while Clark is scrutinized for the smallest reactions. By now, you've likely seen the footage. Skylar Diggins-Smith's shoulder check against Caitlin Clark after Indiana's dominant win over Seattle. Yet, while that moment went completely unnoticed by the officials, Clark's emotions were policed in an instant. Oh, was this just another example of inconsistent officiating, or is there a deeper issue at play? One thing is clear, this August 18th matchup didn't just showcase Clark's resilience, it exposed a growing problem within the WNBA that fans are no longer willing to ignore.
Another look here at the heavy contact. Alyssa Thomas.
Yeah, they're not going to look at this.
That's got
they might.
It's gotten the fans here fired.
Okay, by now I'm sure you've seen Skylar Diggins assault Caitlin Clark after Indiana blew out Seattle.
Caitlin Clark gets hit with a technical.
I got a technical for basically being mad at myself because I missed the three and then I went and hit the backboard and he told me it was disrespectful to the game of bat. I think he fired me up to continue to play a lot harder. I thought we got a lot better after he did that. So I want to thank him for that. Had nothing to do with my team, had nothing to do with their reffing, had nothing to do with other team. It was just because I'm a competitor.
Put Michaela on your wedding in that group. Kennedy Carter nearly picks off the pass. And Diana Taurasi, they'll count the bucket. And one coming up for deep.
The hesitation, working inside the reverse. Oh, and took a big hit there on Jackie Young.
Okay, by now I'm sure you've seen Skylar Diggins assault Caitlin Clark after Indiana blew out Seattle.
And Caitlin Clark gets hit with a technical.
I got a technical for basically being mad at myself because I missed the three and then I went and hit the backboard and he told me it was disrespectful to the game. Continue to play a lot harder. I thought we got a lot better after he did that. So I want to thank him for that.